want to share with you a story about a client that came to us and about a year ago. And it's a common story that we hear and see so many times with many of our clients that come in here, starting with a bitter start and then kind of having a more sweet hallmark ending. You see, where it was for her as she started to come in to see me is she started to really show these signs of upper cervical instability. First, it started with waking up with a crick in her neck, and it was stuff that she would have, and that was coming from tension that she was having in her neck and shoulders and upper back and stuff like that. And then shortly after that, it started to progress into headaches. First, she was having them just a couple times a month, and then from there, they kind of progressed into occurring more on a weekly basis. And then they went from weekly to actually multiple times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, definitely getting worse. And she was trying all kinds of things. She was taking ibuprofen on a daily basis. It was really impacting and affecting her life. She had a desk job where she would work from home, but she also, had to go into an office several times a week, and she really felt that her sitting was aggravating her condition. She was tossing and turning at night, getting very poor sleep, about 5 to 6 hours a night, and just always in a state of discomfort and struggling. She really wanted to exercise, but what she found was that any time that she did exercise, she would always feel worse, 2 to 3 days later. And so she kind of felt encouraged that she wanted to exercise, but she didn't want to feel the fallout from it. As things went, she was trying different modalities. She was going to a massage therapist. She tried cupping. She'd done different massage. She'd been to several different chiropractors. She'd even been to her medical doctor, who was also giving her prescription grade NSAID. So I think it was 800 milligram naproxen. And again, that was working a little bit, but the pain was still persistent. And again, this is affecting all qualities and areas of her life. But it still got worse from there. And later on, what began to happen was she started to have numbness down into her arms. And then she was also having hip pain and lower back stuff. This was all, feeding into it. But the big thing was when she started having the numbness down into her arm. And that's when she reached out and started to see a neurologist. Well, the neurologist then gave her gabapentin, which is a heavy narcotic, and it's one that's being treated mostly for a lot of nerve pain. And she was on this and kind of just felt drowsy, and maybe it was helped sometimes, but she just still always had these underlying symptoms. It was shortly around that time that a friend had planted the seed. They're like, hey, you may have this upper cervical instability syndrome, and maybe you need to go see an upper cervical chiropractor. I've heard about those, and I actually am going to one right now. And that's when she learned about us. So, when she came in to see us, the first thing that we did was we took a careful history. We did a consultation, gathered as much information, delved deep into her history, discovering what's going on. We did a detailed assessment posturally, and then also of x-rays, looking at imaging and looking at what was going on. We could see the imbalances in her body, in her neck, her head leaning one way, her shoulders unlevel, her hips, the rotation that she was experiencing in her whole spine. So it wasn't just happening in her neck and her shoulders and creating these what was creating a lot of these headaches, but it was actually having an effect all the way down her spine. So after we, did these assessments, then on that first day, we kind of came up with a game plan of what we were going to do and created a plan. And she looked at it and she said, yeah, this is what we want to do. And we worked on, and she got that first adjustment. Now, that was pretty amazing, and it was a little intense. We're very gentle, but it still was, there was a little maybe marginal discomfort as she was working through getting into a better position. The next week, when I saw her for her first follow-up, the first thing she remarked is, wow, I actually slept through the night for the first time after that first adjustment for the first couple days. And she goes, it was so refreshing and so amazing to actually feel that change. And I was like, just super excited for her. And, you know, the next thing she did is she's just like, yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit less pain in my neck, as well as I'm able to turn it more. She's like, especially when I turn to the left, looking over my left shoulder while I'm driving, you know, that has really impacted her, just driving and not feeling, you know, secure on the road. Other facets started showing up, you know, her hip and lower back started to feel a little bit more ease. But the big thing is she started to exercise, and she started to exercise 3 to 4 times a week. But the big difference is now she wasn't feeling beat up or like she was run over by a truck afterwards. So she wasn't seeing the fallout, which she was excited about, and I was elated as well. Hi, I'm Dr. Sweeney, and I've been practicing a unique technique here in Austin for over 20 years called the NUCA method. And what's so unique about the NUCA method is there's less than 300 people in the country that do what I do. And it's a chiropractic technique that actually helps correct a lot of issues, but it does it without doing any twisting, popping, or cracking. Now, why that's important is because so many people that have cervical instability are already dealing with hyperlaxity. They've got mobility and hypermobility. And that can stem from a lot of different things, you know, a lot of different causative factors, whether it's physical, chemical, emotional, traumas, lots of different other causative factors, sometimes that we need to delve into. So we really want to understand what is happening with people's spines that creates this instability. Once we have a better understanding of that, we do a very detailed history where we can delve in a deep understanding, a health history of what's been going on not only currently but in the past. Also, we do our very detailed postural and x-ray assessments. Now, what's so unique about that is we actually 3D model the spine to see what's going on, how the spine, I use the word, is broken down, how it's getting into a distorted position, and not only that, but why it's creating these myriad of problems. Because when we see this instability, this cervical instability, it creates a myriad of symptoms that all mimic a lot of musculoskeletal issues. So, you know, it goes to show that we really need to delve in there and have a better understanding of what is going on and then how we need to work on correcting it. So if any of this stuff sounds like you, or if you're dealing with any of these issues, here's a couple tips that you can try at home. So first thing is, what I'm going to say is use a tennis ball. And you get a tennis ball, and we're going to place it up against your back. You place it right through here, and we're going to roll up and down. And we're going to kind of just hold that up against the wall and work on loosening up this area. We're also going to do some simple range of motions. We're going to do some shoulder exercises, bringing both our shoulders in a backstroke-like motion. The other thing is we're going to do what I call simple ranges of motion. We're not going to roll our head like it's a ball and socket joint, like our shoulder, like I just demonstrated. We're going to turn our head to left and right, left and then right, and then bring our right ear down to the right shoulder, left ear to the left. So we're going to do those and add a little bit of extra. The other things we're going to do is what I call inverting the pillow. So we're going to take our pillow, and when we're lying on our back, instead of having our pillow flat like this, we're actually going to stand it up on the skinny end. So when we're lying on our back, our head goes into it, and it actually creases and creates almost like a horseshoe pillow, like what you would use when you're traveling. What that's going to do is provide that support for our neck, and it's going to limit our mobility. So when we're turning our head or turning our body, it's going to help keep our neck in a nice cradle position, and I really like that. Other things we're going to do is heat and cold in that order. So we start with heat and with cold, and we can do it for about 10 to 15 minutes each side, hot and cold. Lastly is just work on assessing our posture and our bad habits, and really starting to think about what it is that we're doing. Is there anything that you're doing, like on a day-to-day basis, that could be contributing or causing these problems? And really starting to understand what it is that we do, because we all do things as humans that may be aggravating our situation, and it's good if we can start to understand, or I call it closely dissect, what it is that we may be doing. Now, if you've tried these things and you're still, to no avail and you're still having issues, as I always say, there's limitations to matter, meaning things are only going to get as good as they're going to get, until we do something different. So if that's the case, we're here to help. We would be happy to help. And you can reach out to us for a free consultation where we'd be happy to have a conversation with you, understand what's going on with you and your situation, and then how we may be able to help. And if I can't help you, then maybe helping to steer you in the right direction. So if you would like to do that, you can contact our office at 512-910-2300. And again, we'd be happy to set up that initial consultation. It's free of charge, and all it takes is just a few minutes to do. So again, just as a gentle reminder, we can't call you. If you're dealing with this, you got to call us. So we'd love to hear from you. And have a great day. Farewell, be well, and be grateful.